At the end of 2023, Deputy General Director of Russian Railways said that due to staff shortage, the company would hire convicts who had been sentenced to forced labor by the court.
We have already started cooperation with the Federal Service for the execution of punishments, and we are considering the possibility of employing convicts. Of course, we understand all the risks of this, but for us it is a real additional opportunity, especially in hard-to-reach areas of the Transbaikal territory and so on, an additional source to cover the deficit. Dmitry Shakhanov, Deputy Director General of the Russian Railways, from a speech at the Forum Transport of Russia.
Earlier, the head of Avtovaz and Sberbank announced their intention to hire prisoners, and one of the country's largest marketplace has already recruited them to work in the warehouse in St. Petersburg.
Simply because some people left to fight, some died, new people were drafted, and some simply left the country not wanting to fight. As a result, we had a loss of 1.5 million people, according to various estimates.
Presidential Commissioner for the Protection of Entrepreneurs' Rights, Boris Titov, believes that pensioners should help cope with the shortage of labor in the country. However, experts say that thinking that pensioners should save the country's economy is at least strange.
In fact, there are a lot of pensioners in Russia, and many of them are already working because the pension is not large. So those pensioners who can work and want to work, they are already doing it. Therefore, in a market economy, these talks are a little bit, I would say, unintelligent.
Attempts to attract migrants will also not solve the problem. Firstly, in 2023, foreigners left Russia en masse because they were forcibly sent to the war against Ukraine. And secondly, the economic situation in the Federation is deteriorating.
It has become not very profitable for labor migrants to come to Russia now, because the ruble has devalued and the ruble earnings in Russia turned into a smaller amount, especially when you transfer it to Central Asia, where you come from, where your family lives. So, in general, the benefit of coming to Russia has also reduced for labor migrants.
Immigration of skilled personnel and young people from Russia continues. Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Russians' demand for foreigner citizenship has soared to record levels. The current wave of immigration is the largest since 1920s. In the first 9 months of 2023, more than 68,000 Russian citizens received residence permits or citizenship of other countries.
People are trying to immigrate from the country, especially men who are subject to the mobilization. Generally speaking, they don't want to go to the front. Naturally, people who don't agree with the policy try to leave. They want to at least give a future to their children. Those are people who realize that the economic situation in the future will not be favorable, especially small and medium-sized businesses.
The demographic situation in Russia may lead to a reduction of the population to a level of the 19th century, according to the Federal State Statistics Service. In the next 20 years, the population of the Federation is expected to decline at a rate of 800,000 people per year, and by the middle of the 21st century, Russia may lose more than 15 million people.
If we take pessimistic forecasts, which are now becoming the most realistic, then at the end of the century, from 140 million people in Russia, there could be no more than 65 million people left. That's a problem because the birth rate is falling, but in general there is no such passionate readiness of the population to give birth to children to send them off to war.
In 2018, the Kremlin launched the 4 trillion ruble national project Demography, which was supposed to stop the country's extinction in 6 years. However, Russia ended up losing almost 3 million people in 2018 to 2022. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Yulia Bil, UATV News.